Hi guys, welcome to another episode of LR Live. Today we have come up north to County Durham and I am here visiting the location and the site and the factory of YRM. Now, if you haven't heard of YRM before, you must have been under a rock for quite some time. YRM are probably the leading manufacturers, designers, fabricators of some of the best repair panels on the market. I'm going to take you in now, we're going to meet the guys, we're going to talk about their products and we're going to see if we could introduce you to something new. I hope you're going to enjoy it and come along for the ride. Just wanted to show you some of the concepts that these guys have. Really, they've tried very hard to not reinvent the wheel as such, but just make it rounder. And I know that sounds a bit odd, but what they're trying to do here is take a product that exists already and has done for 40 years and just try and make it that little bit better. Now, the main focus for these guys on making these products with Ronnie Senior and Ronnie Junior, what they've tried to do over the years is they've identified the major problem with Land Rovers is the electrostatic reaction you get between steel and aluminium, and that's what causes so much damage on a Land Rover Defender. So many of you, if you've got a Land Rover Defender, you're going to know what I'm talking about. It's that reaction you get between steel and aluminium where it degrades over time and turns into like a white powder or a white paste. And the only way you can avoid that is by stopping those two materials contacting each other or replacing one material with a different material so they don't get that reaction. And that's really how they've that's their mantra almost on how they've approached all the different products. They've also looked at other products from Land Rover that may not be available anymore, and they've tried to reintroduce those into the market. But also they've taken some elements of Land Rover parts and actually made them better.
2005 was the first product we ever did, which was our 001 bulkhead repair panel.
Yeah.
A gentleman in the village wanted bulkhead repair panels, and he paid about £30 at the time, and I'm going back about 20 years. And I said, well, you should have come and seen us, and I knocked a batch up for you. So I said, right, well, if he's paid £30 for them, so I thought, well, I'll give it a punt. Made a batch. Sold them at £20 a piece, which was a third cheaper than anybody else. From the money from that, did product number 2. Then the money from that, and the money from product number 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we've got a product line of closing on 1,300 products. 90% of Land Rover's problems come from mild steel being in contact with aluminium. They don't like each other. So if you can put a barrier between them, they can't touch each other, so everything's good.
This is Ronnie Junior's 110 that was originally built on a 110 hardtop. It's been converted into a 5-door, so you can see the Alpine light glass missing at the top, but it does have panoramic now from VGS. But again, you know, wherever they can, they fitted their own parts. And I'm going to show you some of the things that have really interested me is, and they're not shy, they're quite happy for you to sort of prod and poke and feel around on their vehicles. So they demonstrated to me this sill here, and they said basically just pull it as hard as you can. And there's absolutely no flex in it at all. And if you know your Defenders like I do, you'll know that these sills are very much a weak point. As far as they're only made in like a 1.5mm thick aluminium. Same goes for this rear quarter panel, or this rear corner here. That's been reinforced by one of their own products inside because they're so flexible, but that is absolutely solid. So because they own these vehicles and they're using them every day, and they're working from a farm, so they're in their natural environment, if you like, they know what works, and they're striving really hard to make sure that these products are better than anything else you can get on the market. So I'm just poking around really. They've given me free rein to have a look around the warehouse and the workshop, and so I've looked at these. These are centre boxes, so centre panels for your seat box in a Defender. Normally that's just a flat panel that goes down. You can see obviously your transfer box and your gearbox through the hole, but they've utilised that space with a little sort of secret compartment. So if you've got a cubby box in the centre of your Defender, instead of the centre seat, you can locate this underneath and you can hide some valuables and you can store whatever you need to if you're on a trip. You can store your passport and some additional funds, money, whatever. Just so, again, it's just innovation. So I'm in the area now where all the fabrication's done. Dell's just putting together some cappings. Now these are the original cappings that they're doing. It's their own capping. So Ronnie, just explain to me then about this is a capping that you've developed yourselves. What was the thought process behind how you've done it?
Mate, you've got to take Land Rover back to when they first made them. They made them like this, so that this back piece was always the same. The middle piece just had various lengths. So we've made the tool, and to do this one, it's 2.5 meters, so I'll be able to do up to 3-door 110s, and then this piece in the front. This piece on a 90 is the same on a double cab 110 and a 3-door 110 Defender.
Okay.
So that can do all 3 permutations.
Yep.
I just need a different length in here, and that does all the permutations of every Defender.
So by doing it that way, your tooling costs are
It reduces the tooling costs.
Yep. And I guess you can just make what's needed when it's needed.
Yes.
As well.
So that's a genuine Land Rover subframe off a 110, on 110 and 90.
And you were telling me that it's the ribs that are installed.
Because of these strengthener ribs in here, which facilitate muck to sit in. Muck gets in there, gets wet, dry, wet, dry. The aluminium just turns to white powder. So you could then replace your wheel arch with the one I've just shown you earlier, put a hot dip galvanised subframe in, which this is made of 2mm mild steel.
So that's your version basically?
Of that, yes.
Yes. And you say it's thicker?
Yeah, that's 2mm, and this is 1.2.
Okay, and then it's...
and they're hot dip galvanised.
Yep.
So then you can replace that with that. You can replace your aluminium inner skin. So in essence, you're back to square one again. But don't forget, they did 120 vehicles a day.
Yeah.
Times that by 5, times that by 50, so 48 by the time you get holidays. So if you're saving £3 per unit, it's a good saving over a year.
Right. And that's basically what you're up against.
Yeah, and then if you times that, say, by 10 years of the life of the run of that particular vehicle.
Yeah, of course.
You start racking up some serious money.
So it's not all their fault.
No, no.
They were just building it to a price and trying to make some money.
They're being led by accountants.
Yeah. But they should have done it your way, really, shouldn't they?
Why not? Everybody does it their way. And not everybody's right.
Are you grateful for the imperfections that Land Rover have created?
It gives me a living.
So up until now, I've kind of let the guys explain to me what the products are for, what the thought process was behind them, what they've done to develop them. But one thing I wanted to just explain myself from my own experience was these side sills here. Now I showed you on one of their Defenders the difference, and I'm just amazed. So up here behind me we've got YRM's own side sills, and they're made out of 3mm aluminium. When you compare that to like the 1.2mm aluminium that Land Rover make theirs out of, it is just night and day. Then we go over to YRM's own, and look at the difference. So look at the difference, the thickness there. And you know, you just don't appreciate how much more rigid that makes it. And what it means is you haven't got to fit checker plate to your side sills to make them as strong as they should be. You know, a lot of people are sort of double skinning their Defenders in checker plate to make them stronger and more durable and less flexible. And you know, these guys have approached it in a different way, and they've made the original components to the original OEM spec, but in better, stronger materials, and that's really important. So you were saying earlier how what you've tried to do with some of your components is you've broken them down. So rather than do it the way Land Rover do it, where you get the whole assembly.
So if you don't want to fit a full C-post, and you feel confident that you can just repair this, because a lot of Defenders only rot, that goes on there like that.
Right, that's your sill, yeah.
And because of that hole there, Land Rover put a bung in it. So what that facilitates, all the muck,
just traps it all.
Traps it in there, so majority of Defenders just rot in this location here.
Okay.
So if your rot is only in that location, you feel confident enough that you can just replace this piece here.
Yep. There it is.
There it is.
Yep. Yep.
That piece has a tab there. There's a tab there, so you drill them spot wells out.
Yeah.
Them spot wells out here. That has the tab on that one, so then you can push that one in.
Yep.
Where you've drilled your spot wells out, you can put a rivet or put a plug weld in.
Okay.
Depending on what your skill set is.
Yeah, so at the minute we're getting doing some tooling to remanufacture these as original.
So are these yours at the moment?
Yes,
or?
these are ours, yeah. So the idea is with the new tool, it'll fold it round and then it'll crimp the material up, like the material will pleat, and then the idea is we'll have excess material there and it'll come and do a second operation and cut it to that form there and leave no pleating. We'll have one tool and we'll put a flat in. It'll have different hole permutations. This one's an early Defender up till 1994. When we say early Defender, so it's like pre-LED lights. So it had the 3 fixing points and a smaller hole. Whereas the latest R1 Defender has 2 holes at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And what we've done is all the early Defenders had a broad shoulder around the side. So updating your lights. The latest style Defenders originally, that shoulder narrowed up.
Yeah.
So then we've done it so like the early one. So if you replace it, you're not left with a tide mark on there. So the high capacity originally, it was just an extension piece butt jointed on. So when we do ours, it'll be one seamless piece.
Inside the rear cross member, the bolt goes through there to stop them from squashing. I've never took a one apart yet. That I've been able to take that out without it just crumbling in my fingers. So I make them in 3-1 and 6 grade stainless, put them in, you can forget about them.
Yeah.
When you're pressure washing them out, you know, they're not going to start corroding.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing a galvanised chassis changeover, it just makes sense to change them with
Of course it does, yeah.
a track rod end clamp. I didn't like it when I used to have to take them apart and then paint them, and it was an awful, I didn't like doing it. So I did these in 3-1 6 grade stainless so I can fit them and not have to touch them.
And then this is the bolt from our 1022 kit, which is the bulkhead to chassis on the outriggers. So what it's referring to there, the numbers on the top A4 is the material, which is 316 grade stainless steel, and the 80 refers to tensile strength, which is equivalent to 8.8, which was fitted originally. You can have a couple of issues with stainless, so what we advise people not to do is don't use hand tools, don't use impact drivers, because they get heat into them and that's what causes issues. Or sometimes when you get one at top end of tolerance, the bolt at top end of tolerance and the nuts at bottom end of tolerance, and they can sometimes bind or what's called gnarling, and then you just end up shearing. But if we have customers with issues with that, we send replacements out, and then a lot of the time we advise people to use like a light oil, so WD-40, copper slip, and that'll prevent any of that as well.
A lot of people say that they sell stainless steel bolts. Yes, they sell stainless steel bolts, but it's what Ronnie was just saying, the first two numbers denote the corrosive resistance of the bolt, which a lot of people sell A2 stainless steel, which is 304 grade stainless steel, which is mainly for internal use or not in an aggressive environment. So we use A4 wherever practical, and that's 316 grade stainless. If you've got corrosion in this area here,
Which is the back of your door, yeah?
yeah, your seat box end goes in here. It's predominantly because of this. Your wheels here, salt goes against this. Salt then accelerates the rusting process of that. That rusts. It's attached to aluminium, so you start electrostatic reaction away. So that goes on there. That goes on there.
Yeah.
That's a gasket.
Okay.
So that goes
So that's
in there.
essentially a really good example of what your mantra is. Yeah, you've got steel, and you've got a gasket, and then you've got aluminium.
If mild steel and aluminium can't touch each other, they can't hurt each other.
So customers can buy these pre-cut, can't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
But do you do these in the sheet form? On a roll?
On
Yeah.
a roll.
So they can sort of
So
turn
then
around
you
as they
can
go along?
cut, you can cut that to
Yeah.
whichever shape you
And
want.
then we also recommend using the sheet foam along the top, because you've got the seat box end and your floor plates, which are all aluminium, dissimilar metals. So a seat belt, a chassis bracket for a Defender 90. So originally it just had 2 holes and it was handed left and right. So we've made this so it's universal. It'll fit both sides and there's no issues. From out on the seat belt chassis bracket, it comes with a nut plate on as well, which is stainless steel fixings on a galv plate. It all started off where Rich shows and my dad was just giving it to people and like, oh, it's time to start making kits. So door hinge bolts. This is for a second row on a 110. So Land Rover were quite cute when they designed these, because if you buy an M8 countersunk bolt off the shelf, it comes at 16mm outside diameter, the head. With Land Rover, to fit the hinges, they need to be 14.8. So we've designed these at 14.6. So if people paint them, we've got a bit of wiggle room. And they're done all the same lengths, T40 heads on them. So we have these all specially made. So this is the P section, which shows the door will be sealed on a Series 2 and 3 an early Defender. So the silver rail channel is the same from 1958 up to 2016. Just on the early Defenders in the series, they had a door seal holder which was mounted on like that. Originally it was spot welded on and it was just mild steel, and when you're getting foot traffic over the top and salt etc, it just corrodes over the years. So we've done it so it's a rivet-on option.
Okay, and that's in stainless?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you got your door rubber seal. So this here, we've done it so originally it was a mild steel strip. That's an aluminium strip, because what happens is water gets in there originally and then starts to corrode the mild steel, and it just corrodes from the inside out.
It expands.
It expands. And
I suppose it's going to deform, isn't it?
Yeah. So that then mounts on there. Then you cut the rubber to required length.
And would you say that most Defenders out there haven't even got that rubber strip at the bottom of the door now?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite a lot.
300s, 200s and most TD5s, that'll be
majority of ones which have the P section and the rubber, I would say there'll be a good 50% of them that will have just disappeared.
Yeah. So if someone might have owned a Land Rover Defender for 10 years and it's never been on there, they never even realised it was missing.
Yeah.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah.
Now, I don't claim to know everything about Land Rover Defenders. Obviously, I'm just an enthusiast like most of you watching this video, but I didn't think I'd learn as much as I've learned coming today to YRM. These guys really know their stuff. I mean, they're so passionate. Ronnie Jr. and Ronnie Sr., they're both really knowledgeable. And I guess what's really interesting about this business is that Ronnie Sr. has started this business and developed these products mostly because he wanted to improve the products that were on his own Defenders. He's redesigned the product, he's made it better, he's made it how he wants it, out of stainless, so it'll last longer, so he's only got to do the job once. And he's made it in a way that he's figured, well, I'll do a few, and maybe some other people might buy them. And, you know, that's the thing about the Land Rover fraternity. We're all very like-minded creatures. We all kind of want the same thing, and we kind of appreciate the same workmanship and the same attention to detail. So that's why I think YRM are onto a winner, because he's got the ability, Ronnie Sr.'s got the ability to look at something and say, right, well, that's just not good enough. I want it better. I'll make it for myself. I want it for my own Land Rover, but I'll make a few more and sell them to friends and enthusiasts and people, and we'll see where it goes. And of course, it's just gone on and on and on from there, and people have just really seen the benefits in having his product on their Defenders. So all credit to them. These guys have made a real difference to the future, I think, of Defenders out there, because if it wasn't for businesses like this making products better, Defenders won't exist in you know, another 20 years. They'll just rot into the ground. So this is something that we've all got to appreciate and really embrace. Obviously, there'll be some purists out there who don't want to fit some of this galvanized product, and that's totally understandable. Stainless steel product, for instance, might not be for everybody, but it's not been built for fashion, it's been built for function, and that's really important. So it's just such a joy to see so much ingenuity and engineering experience in one place. I've really enjoyed looking around the whole site.